Well, good evening, everybody. It's Monday, the 24th of March, and that means that we've got 7 days before we're out of Portland, I think, unless we stay a bit longer, but I don't think we are, because our agreement with Boatfolk and Portland finishes our stay here on the 31st, and it's been fantastic. Next week, I think we're going to do a bit of a show round of the Marina and tell you a bit about what it's actually been like staying in Portland over winter. However, this week I am slammed to get the boat ready to leave. Melissa and Jack and Ollie have gone away again to see John in the nursing home in Leicester and to visit Jack's friends up in Anglesey. So they're doing a whirlwind tour, picking up some bits from the autopilot motor from Cliff that you saw me drop off, picking up the emergency tiller from Dave that you saw me drop off. So all that's happening up north, and I'm here working flat out on the boat. And the first thing that I need to look at is getting that diesel tank properly installed, properly plumbed in, properly working, and then look at wiring a whole load of stuff up, because of course I've ripped loads of stuff out, so I need to put it all back. Okay, so down here that's a difficult shot to get, is our amazing new diesel tank that David built us. While Chris was here over the weekend, I didn't film it because Chris doesn't really want to be on camera, but we basically installed that tank properly. What I've done is I've sat it on a bed of PET foam, so it's not sitting directly on the fiberglass, so it's on a couple of inches of PET foam. I've then filled the bottom with a closed cell spray adhesive foam, put the tank in while it was still soft, and then filled all the way around the edges, round the sides, round the front, round the back, all the way around, and let that expand and expand and expand. I had to put some weights on it to stop it floating the empty tank up in the air. That's expanded and has set. Then I've cut the top off that with a knife and glassed over, so you can see there's now fiberglass all the way around the tank, so absolutely no water at all is going to get underneath that tank. Not only that, but we put some diesel in it like this. See, it's not taking any air in and going glug glug glug. That's going to crush my tank though, Chris. Work them knees, baby. So this is a flashback to just trying diesel in Dave's new diesel tank for the first ever time. And you can see at this state in the proceedings, it all looks very bare and raw. That's like me having a wee at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just keep squeezing, but stop start old man wee. And then we got it running, got the engine running. So we know the engine runs off this tank, and we know, my concern was that the pickup, the lift pump on the engine, the mechanical lift pump, wouldn't be man enough to pick up fuel from the bottom of that tank, but there's only 20 litres of diesel in the bottom, picking it up absolutely fine. I may put an inline facet pump in, different story. My job today is, I've got my batteries down there in the crawl through. I want to get them back in here, and the floor that was in there was really naff. It was crap. So I'm going to put a new floor, and I want to put new sides on there. Because these are fiberglass tanks, I can't screw into them to mount pipe clips. So this is my hot water feed coming back from the immersion tank. That's the cold water feed. There's all kinds of wiring which needs tidying up for bilge pumps. There's fuel piping. And I want to pipe clip those. So to pipe clip them, I've got to clad the whole thing in plywood, haven't I? I've already made some plywood sides. There's one over there with a rail. There's one over here with the rails to sit on. They're marine ply with mahogany rails. I've used some scrap, but it's good timber. And I've glass clothed the back side of these because I want them to be fully encapsulated. So yesterday I cut them out, glass cloth the back, and then when I put them in and glass cloth the visible side, they'll be fully encapsulated. So that's what I'm doing now. Look at that. That I'm very pleased with. Now, that panel there doesn't have a hatch in because it's going to have the batteries on, so there's very little point putting a hatch in there, but the whole panel will lift out. This panel here has a hatch in it, so I can take that out to get to the fittings on the diesel tank. So as you can see, this panel comes out. I have plumbed that in. One thing I need to do is install one of those, which is a one-way check valve. So it goes, can't blow through it that way, but you can blow through it that way. And that will prevent any fuel from kind of siphoning back down into the tank. Something I have noticed the last couple of days, it may be that there's air getting in one of the pipe clips higher up. Perhaps, I don't really know. But when you stop the engine and you leave it for more than, say, half an hour or an hour, it's as though the fuel's going to have gone back into the tank, which is a bit weird. So I'll cross that bridge, but the easy solution to that at the moment is a one-way check valve, which I'm going to put in right now. And because the batteries aren't in yet, it's a bit easier because I can get into the forward bit of the bilge, and I'm going to put it, the forward bit of the bay rather, and I'm going to put it as close to the fuel tank as possible. These cutters, by the way, dead handy. They're handy for a lot of things, but you actually put a Stanley knife blade in them. Very useful. Right, this one. Yep. So I'm going to cut that. Right, so that check valve is on. That pipe clip, that check valve is on. I'm not happy with the pipe clips. They're the wrong type. I don't like those Jubilee clips. They're awful. So I'm going to order some new ones and get them before we leave. And the other thing I've got to do is the pipe from the fill to the deck fill. So that's on the agenda as well. But we're getting there. We're definitely making some good progress with this tank job. Before I put the batteries in and start installing all of that lot, there was a couple of holes here at the front, and I don't know what they were there for or originally there for, but the other side of them is the through hole for the deck drain. So now I can get to that and service it and keep it lubricated and turn it on and off as needs be. And I've made a piece of timber to go over the front as a hatch, and I'm just going to drill some holes and thread them and use these knurled nuts so that if we need to turn the deck drain off, we can just take these out to do it. And of course, you know, once I'm done with this job, I'll epoxy these edges and stuff. The starter batteries I use are these Lucas batteries. I haven't got two of them, I've got three. Oh, that's lovely. And the reason I have three is because the MCA guidelines, I'll put them on the screen on this white bit of wall here, say you should have a primary starter battery with a 1-2 both switch, which means you can switch on battery 1, battery 2 or both, and you should always have a secondary spare battery as well. Now, if I didn't already have a third, I wouldn't go and spend the money on it probably, because we're not a commercial vessel, we're not coded, we don't have to do that kind of stuff. But I've got one, so I'm not throwing it away, am I? You know, so I'm just going to clean the terminals up and then start running some wiring, I think. I've got something else that I need to show you, which I'm going to put into the loop, into the system, in the SISM. What I'm going to be using to install everything as I put it together is this RS 503335 contact treatment grease that Cliff sent me. Basically, you put a tiny smear of this on all the contacts with all of the poles. You can put it on spade connectors for fuses, you can put it on everything. And it just increases conductivity, so you don't need to slather it on, just a tiny little slip of it. And that will really help stop moisture getting into the connection, so that's going to be part of the process. This is my rotary switch, which I've got rid of my key. I've got rid of the key type because they're kind of old school now, so I'm going to have that probably on here somewhere. And then the other thing I'm using is one of these. This is a battery monitor with a shunt resistor. So it's a little screen and some cabling and a resistor, that measures the current across your battery bank. The reason I'm not using the Victron setup for that is because my house bank and my starter bank and my house bank aren't connected, other than, you know, earthing together the negatives, and I can't afford the Victron one. And this NASA compact BM2, I think it is, yeah, it's a BM2 compact. Oh, it's a BM1 actually, but that's fine. It came up dirt cheap on Facebook, so I'm going to mount that little screen up here somewhere by the starter button, or this slide perhaps next to the, so you'll have the starter, you'll have the battery isolator switch, the battery monitor and the engine stop all on the same panel. Is charging at 14.2 volts, 18.5 amps going in, and our battery is on 29% of charge at the moment, and that's great. But tomorrow I'm going to carry on with this installation, finish off the battery bay box, and then we've got a load more storage under here, haven't we? Which will be absolutely fantastic, because for ages now this area hasn't been able to be used for storage, which has meant that there's been more stuff out and about around the boat, cluttering up the boat and making Melissa unhappy. So I've got more to do tomorrow, but as for today, we have working switch, working battery monitor, working batteries, working shunt resistor, working diesel tank, working engine. We're good. It's the next morning. I've had the starter battery on the trickle charger all night, and engine runs great. Batteries are down there. So my job today is going to be finish building the battery bay and to kind of reinstall the plumbing and the wiring and all that kind of stuff.
1, 2, 3, 4.
The battery bay, the fuel tank bay, is now pretty much complete. All the woodwork is done, the fiberglassing's done, the painting's done. The engine battery system works great, as you've seen, and I've done a whole load of plumbing, so we've now got running water again. My next stage is a whole load of wiring. Originally, I just got the wiring coming straight out the mast and P-clipped onto the joists under the floor. And a few weeks ago, I decided to go for a slightly different system with these bus bars underneath here, which will allow me to basically disconnect them a little bit easier and to fault find should we have any faults in the future. For cabling wise, I always use this stuff, which is Ocean Flex marine grade tinned cable. So I'm going to press on and see if we can get our mast lights wired up. So going to the top of the mast, we've got the VHF antenna, which I haven't disconnected. That's working. So you can find us on AIS and the VHF works. So that's never been disconnected. We've also got our tricolour light and anchor light, which is the Weems and Plath photodiode one that was bought for us by one of you guys. Actually, it was a very kind gift ages ago. So that's at the top of the mast, but seems to not work. So I might have to go up the mast and find if there's a fault on that. But it might be that that's fixed by this wiring today. There's also the wind speed anemometer. There's the anchor light and the the anchor light, the steaming light, and the spreader lights, the deck lights. So there's a bunch of stuff to do here. Should all be fairly simple, but I'm going to start by just running nice, neat cables. So I've made my kind of wiring loom here, which takes all of those cables from by the mast to tidy the loom up rather than just screw it to these beams, which I'm going to do. I'm going to P-slip it to the beams, but I like to use this stuff, which is kind of a braided loom cable tidy thing. It's really good. It's split and kind of nylon springy, and it just means that if I need to do any repairs later on, all I need to do is just remove the P-clips and I can get each wire individually out from this and test it or replace it. Well, we've got a little bit of progress with our wind speed anemometer. I did think I was going to have to go up the mast to figure out what the problem was, but it seems the problem was with the old wiring, so it's a good job I've redone it. I've got it on the sofa here and it's showing 11.7 knots and the wind direction, so that's good. It saves me a trip up the mast, unless I find that the mast head light doesn't work when I wire that up tonight, but fingers crossed. I'll be slightly annoyed if it doesn't, because I don't think the weather's great for going up the mast the next couple of days, but pleased with that. Okay, so where are we up to? Well, the diesel tank is now fully installed. I've ordered the piece of pipe to go from the deck fill to the top of the tank. That's going to take a few days to come. And I've also ordered a 12-volt little tiny facet pump, they're called, to keep pressure good to the engine. So that's fine. I can put those in when they arrive. And I need to wire up the gauge, but that's fine. The wiring from the mast is all done. Everything works except the mast headlight. I did try it last night and it doesn't work. So I'm going to have to go up the mast, and I'll do that tomorrow because it's a good day for it. So that'll be in next week's episode probably. All the rest of the wiring is done, and I've tidied up the wiring for the bilge pumps in the saloon as well, and put that nice sheathing over those as well, which I did today, which I didn't show you. So coming back to our post-it notes, sort out the battery and charging and wiring issue. That's done. I can see on the monitor on that BM1 that the batteries are charging perfectly from the engine. Finished the chart table area wiring. I've just literally done that. So that's all done, except for the gauges. Finish the diesel tank installation. What have we got left to do? Finish the chart table woodwork. I've got that down as pink, but it really isn't. It doesn't stop us leaving at all. Finish Oliver's fit Oliver's car seat properly. Yes, I need to do that. We've got a new head sail coming from Precision Sail, so hopefully that'll arrive before we leave here. And I've got to fit the davits on the aft deck, which I've started but not finished. And what's the last one there? Service the autopilot motor. That is being done by Cliff as we speak, and Melissa has picked the motor up. Finish the wiring for the instrument helm binnacle. So that's coming next week, and the wiring for the stuff in the cockpit, and some more wiring in there. So that's all done. This stuff was red, but I've moved it to one side because I don't think it's actually that important. A bit of wood panelling, servicing the Hydrovane. I can do that at anchor. The fabric for the cockpit enclosure, well, Melissa's doing that. There's a couple of little bits of wiring to do in Jack's cabin. He needs an extra light. I don't know why I'd got that as a red thing. An extra light is not that big a deal. Repair the broken seat in the cockpit. I'd like to do that, and the seat hinge. And there's a load of sanding and varnishing to do, but none of that. That's cosmetic, isn't it? So it shouldn't really be red. And everything else is either amber or green and won't stop us from leaving at all. So I'm in the middle of lots of jobs, as you can see. It's going incredibly well. And I need to finish this episode because I need to get it uploaded. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's fun packed. It's kind of stopped rather abruptly because I've got to get this episode edited and uploaded for Patreon and then out to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to our patrons for supporting us. Thank you to you for comments and likes and all of that stuff. Thank you to anybody that's donated via Coffee or PayPal or anything like that. Here's the names of our patrons going up the side of the screen. Thank you. We love you. And next week will be even more fun packed. So there may be a couple of episodes where it appears like we're still here, but we're not. We're out on the 31st. On Thursday, I've got a meeting with Tom to see, what our plans are. Tom's the Marina manager here. We get on so well with the staff here. They've become like mates. Right, I'm going to stop waffling. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.